Morning, Jared. How are you this morning?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, very good.
It's a bit early.
It's normal time for me. Yeah.
Fair enough. So we've got to get this review done before you're going to work. And you've just sold the car.
Yes.
So the Pirelli Cinturatos, how were they?
Look, in the main, very good tyre. I've found them to be very good in dry conditions. I've come off a fairly high base with my previous tyre, the high performance tyre, and these ones have performed extremely well in the dry. A lot of confidence in the tyre. Wet, they're a little bit lower in performance than the previous tyres, but still a good all-round performer. Drive to conditions, basically.
Exactly.
So you can't push it as hard, but there's good feel in the wet.
So maybe quickly describe to me your day-to-day driving. What do you actually use these for?
My day-to-day driving is in and out from work, so I've got about a 60 kilometre round trip. So it's a mix of highway driving for about 10 kilometres, and the remainder is open country road, so winding country road. So
a space for some spirited driving.
Oh, absolutely.
Under the speed limit, of course.
Always under the speed limit. Always. So no, look, they handle that scenario extrememly well.
Yeah. Oh, and quick, reminder on what car we're in. We're in a very special Megane. Which one is it?
This is a RS 265 Cup car, so it's a 2015 model. So it's not a lot of them around, but very high performance vehicle. So it's got kilowatts.
I was going a couple of 100 kilowatts with the wheels, so it's not bad.
Yeah, not a bad vehicle.
Yes. Yeah. So the Cinturatos, they're they're not quite the same spec and level as the previous tyre that you were running in terms of being, the previous tyre were almost a track tyre that's meant for the road.
Yeah.
But the Cinturatos have actually kept up with what you've expected?
Look, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yes, you're right. They're a lower spec tyre, but their performance and tyre wear has been such that I've been quite impressed by them, to be quite honest. For someone that wants a tyre for general day-to-day driving, I would say they're a very good option, to be quite honest. Yeah.
And so, hard acceleration?
Being front-wheel drive, I've noticed that we do get a bit of torque steer in these compared to the old tyres, but it's you're aware of it, so it's not quite as in touch with the road from under heavy acceleration, but it's putting a lot of horsepower through the front of this vehicle.
That's right. So it's a fairly extreme example, really.
Yeah. So comfortable with it. Yeah. In a lower horsepower vehicle, they would perform extremely well.
Yeah. Awesome. And what about hard braking? How are they under that?
Dry wise, very good. Wet, I'd still say they're actually very good.
Yeah, good.
They're not as good as the previous tyres, but having said that, fine. I wouldn't say they're a poor performer by any means.
So would you say that these tyres are better in the wet than the previous tyres, or same as, or?
I would actually probably say they're not quite as good as the previous tyres. They lack a bit of. It's hard to explain. They just lack a bit of feel.
Yes.
In the corners.
So generally, day-to-day feel in the corners is something you have noticed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're don't have that feel that the previous ones did, even in the wet.
But again, they were high performance race tyres. So in comparison to other tyres that let's just disregard the previous set you run on this car. Yeah. In comparison to the other tyres that you've run on this car, how do they feel?
So they're excellent, to be quite honest. As I said previously, a very good all-round tyre.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any difference in them between cold and hot, that sort of thing?
Very hard for me to say, because I pretty much going to and from work, I've got quite a few kilometres of 60k, so they warm up pretty quick. So I really can't tell you that they are a lot of difference between them.
Negligible feel, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So. Anything else you feel like we should cover on that?
Noise-wise, they're when I first got them, I in comparison to the previous tyres, these are actually quite quiet tyre.
Yes.
Um,
So less likely to do your head in over long drives.
Absolutely. I have noticed as they've worn down a bit, they've certainly have got a little bit more road noise to them. But then being a two-door, being on heavily chip-sealed roads, there's a bit of road noise there anyway. Yep. But I would say they're an improvement over the previous tyre, and in general,
yes.
Tyres I've had even prior to that, yep. their noise levels are pretty good.
Yeah. I believe you've ventured onto gravel roads with these tyres as well. How was that?
They're a tyre that you can take off road, no doubt about that. On form gravel roads, they certainly handled it, but yeah, it was a much slower drive.
not the happy place, not like sort of my car where you can tear across through there.
Absolutely not. But they handled it. You know, you drive to the conditions. They handled it. In the looser stuff, they're a bit sketchy, but you know, on the harder packed areas, they were fine.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of tyre wear, you said you've got about 15,000 Ks on these now?
Yeah, so far about 15,000 K. The way they're wearing, with a bit of rotation front to rear, I would say we'd get easily 35 to 40,000 K out of that, and I'd be pretty comfortable with that for the type of driving, the road surfaces I'm on. I'd be actually pretty comfortable with that sort of mileage out of them.
Well, that's right. 200 kilowatts worth of abuse on the front of this car, and spirited driving every day. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm very comfortable with them. You know, they're a tyre I'd go and fit again on a vehicle. I'd recommend them.
Yeah, nice. So this is the sunset for the Megane. We're heading off into a new vehicle next. I'm excited to review some new tyres on the next car.
Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, it's a step down in performance of vehicle, but nonetheless, it's still a vehicle I'd be happy to do that with.
Well, you've been talking it up all morning, so tune in next time for what Grant gets next. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.